Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today we're going to be talking about no calculate misconceptions. All right, but before we get into that, I don't know if you guys can tell what I'm wearing here, but if you can see this, but Pack just sent me this awesome like fleece lined hoodie. So it was basically author swag that they sent out to all their authors, and I mean it's really nice and soft and comfy. It's like my new favorite hoodie, man. It's like better than anything I ever got for being, when I was being an MVP. So in 7 years. So thank you, Pack, very much. This is awesome. So really appreciate it. You guys didn't have to do that. Okay, so no calculate misconceptions. All right, and the reason I thought about this was just some things that people have been doing with no calculate lately. That I've been reading about on LinkedIn. Also, the downfall of no calculate. And also, Enterprise DNA releasing this DAX counterculture video that I did for them as like their business intelligence summit. I don't know, it's been a year or more ago. And they just released it on their YouTube channel. So about 9 days ago. And I rewatched this video and I'm like, okay, I think we've lost sight of some of the with all the back and forth between the calculate crowd and no calculate and all that. I think we've lost sight of some of the fundamental tenets of no calculate. Um, so I figured I'd make a video on it and kind of try to reset things. So this is my attempt at that. So this is definitely this kind of I think was a big part of launching the no calculate. You won't see the word no calculate in here, I don't think. And because the original version of this didn't have no calculate, that was coined by Brian Julius. Which there's another video up on Enterprise DNA that they released a while ago, like 2 months ago. DAX is easy, calculate makes DAX hard. That's with between myself and Brian Julius. This video actually, I think I did after this video, um, but they released it in the opposite order. So, but definitely go out and check Enterprise DNA's channel on this. I think it's really some good information and some good background, especially this one in terms of um, the thinking behind no calculate and that the original thinking behind it. And you can also get that in this, calculate why I don't use DAX's calculate function, um, which, and if you really, so I published this like 4 years ago, right back in 2020, almost 4 years ago. The book DAX Cookbook, where that was kind of some of the feedback I got on it, and which led to this blog article being written, which was, oh, you don't use calculate, you must, you're an idiot, kind of stuff. It was some of the reviews I got back on that. So, and if you want to see some more vitriol around the no calculate approach, just go out and check out the comments down here. I mean, it's crazy some of the message. And this is also, I think, the origin of where I think things started to go in the wrong direction with no calculate. Um, so I think the origin of this misconception that no calculate has a is that we've allowed the calculate industrial complex to control the narrative on this, right? The original intention of this was it really didn't it was not about eliminating calculate. It was just about, hey, there's a different way to think about DAX, where think about this approach first versus calculate first. Like in a lot of places, I think people, with DAX, especially when this blog article is written, when you try to do anything in DAX, the first thing that came to their mind was, calculate. They immediately just by sheer rote, memorization or whatever, just rote calculate and then started trying to figure it out from there. And the original goal of no calculate was to, okay, don't do that. Right? Instead, follow this other pattern, right? Which, is create some table vars or create some vars, create a table var, and then use a table aggregator, right? And you can solve pretty much any DAX problem. And I use table aggregator there versus X aggregator to account for things like count rows and things like that. So that was the original concept behind this, and I think basically where things kind of got south or sideways is that some DAX calculate zealot, which you'll see in the comments if you read them, or someone even well-meaning would post a challenge that no calculate can't do X, and then we'd go and prove them wrong like every time, right? Until my video, the downfall of no calculate. That's kind of why I named it that, was that now after 4 years, we finally found something that, okay, no calculate can do it, but it's slower. It's going to have performance issues compared to if you use calculate table, right? So I think this is where that misconception came into the picture. Um, became this kind of fun little game for people to play, right? Oh, you can't do this, and oh yeah, yes you can. So it was the kind of back and forth like that. So now I think some people are like, they think the no calculate movement is here to eliminate calculate. That's the only reason. That was never the concept behind it, right? It was more about the pattern, right? And if you think that like creating vars, creating a table var, creating a um, using a table aggregator, right? That pattern can solve 90% of the problems. If you add calculate table to the mix, which I've never had a problem with calculate table, that's it. I like that function, but it is kind of like the corollary, analogous to calculate, right? But if you add calculate table to that mix, you're probably in the 99% plus of being able to solve any DAX problem that's out there. But guess what? Right? It's the same pattern. You just use calculate table for your table var, right? So it's the exact same. For me, it's more about the pattern, right? The pattern of being able to get the job done, and whether it's a single table data model, some crazy non-idealized data model, right? And it's easier, it's a more logical way to write it. It's easy to debug. So and the point I want to make on this is that you can preach all you want about a star schema and about using calculate in a star schema, and you can preach all you want to about it. It is futile, right? 70% of the Power BI data models that are out there are just single table data models, right? That's not an idealized data model, okay? And argue on all you want, it's not going to change anything, right? And just we love data, so let me have an analogy here. So this is and my my foreign viewers are probably going to be aghast at this stuff. But anyway, this is recycling rates in the United States from 1960 to 2018. Okay, and you can look here and say, okay, from 2005 until basically 2020, and that there's literally been like no change in recycling rates. Okay, at all, right? Regardless that recycling is the right thing to do. It's and there's all kinds of arguments, for doing recycling. The United States has never been above 35% in terms of recycling rates, right? And what that means is, and if you look at, oh, they're going to spend a bunch of money on it, right? And this comes from the EPA. So if you look at the EPA's budget, right, from from 2015 to now, essentially, it averages about $9 billion a year. Okay. Now, if you take, let's just say even 1% of that is geared towards educating the populace about the benefits of recycling and why you should do recycling, right? 1% is like $90 million a year. You take 90 million times 15 years, that's $1.35 billion that was basically wasted on this topic. And that's my point in terms of calculate. You could be absolutely correct that calculate is the way to go and star scheme is the way to go. And guess what? It does not freaking matter. You could argue till you're blue in the face, and you're probably not going to convince more than about 20 to 30% of the people that you're right. Okay, they're just going to do what they want to do, which is create single table data models and non-idealized data models and things that you think, no, don't do that. It's you might as well yell at clouds. Okay, you can either waste your time, all right, doing that, or you can actually solve the problem. So I'm an engineer. I like to just solve the problem, and the no calculate approach solves the problem, right? Because it's applicable to any data model that's out there, whether it's single table, a star schema, snowflake schema, some crazy thing with 17 fact tables. It doesn't matter, right? No calculate applies. Whereas calculate gets into a lot of trouble when you get into non-idealized data models, right? So that is basically, the points that I wanted to make in this, you know, in this video. Now, I will say this. I think that the calculate industrial complex has kind of controlled the narrative around no calculate far too much, and that's about to change. Okay, I'm not going to say how or why or how it's going to change, right? You'll just have to wait for that. but consider yourselves warned and on notice. It's going to change. That's all I had for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.